Welcome to Afifthofjack Gaming, and today we got a box and a knife. We're going to make this unboxing happen. We may end up having this be a little extra long video because we're going to have some shenanigans, so we're going to be trying that over with this video. Without further ado, let's crack this bad boy open. We ended up picking this up from Organic Price Books, where you can use the discount code Afifthofjack to save $2 off, or if you have 4 or more books, you can use the discount code Jack It Together to save 5% off your entire order instead. We're still working through the peanut stage, which is cool, but as you can see, it's nicely protected that we have inside. They reuse the box, which is awesome, which we will end up using. These are biodegradable. These we're going to end up breaking down into any kind of a thing that you end up having, like water-wise and everything. These would melt right on down. And they also have this in a nice little book protector where you end up having a nice little vision with it that protects the books from moving in back and forth. I got my little assistant. If you've been seeing a couple videos, he's been inside that. So we got a new little kid, so he's bopping around. But we come all to see what's inside the box. What's in the box? Well, Transformers, a deluxe version. This is a standard cover. I went to standard cover because I'm a big Optimus fan, because it's one of the heroes that ends up going, the one with the leader. Big Autobots, where that's contrary to near mint condition, where Omar is a Decepticon, and he has a direct market cover. So if you're curious about what that ends up looking like as a thorough, in-depth view, go over to there. I'll have a link down to this video down in the description down below. But this brings us over to the next point, what we're going to end up doing. We're going to convert and go over into a first look of this book. So, with the first look or an overview of this book, we're going to end up having it broken down. I think it's hovering right around 300 pages, so you can end up picking it up. Like I said, this is the standard cover. Right over here will be the direct market cover that we have of the book. And then this is the front, the spine, and the back. The two big differences you're going to end up having is a direct market cover is going to have Starscream that's going to be on the cover and on the spine of the book. And it's going to be purple instead of blue. Where we have Optimus Prime on the front, on the spine, and then ultimately also on the back we end up having the Autobots logo, where if you get the direct market cover, you end up getting the Decepticons. It's going to be right over there. It's important to say there's a few different ways that you can end up collecting this. So, obviously, you have the deluxe copy. But before you had the deluxe copy, you had the trade paperbacks. And, ultimately, the single issues. So you had a bunch of different ways that you can end up collecting it. This deluxe copy is going to be the more premium way to be able to copy or have it. And the best part about that is where this covers 6 issues, this covers 12 issues. So this is going to cover half of Daniel Warner Johnson's run that he's going to have on it. Yes, Daniel Warner Johnson is the big person, the big brain on that. And he does the art himself up to issue number 6, where you end up getting Jorge Corona. I think I said that right. Or Corona. That takes over for it. And I believe he's going to go through the rest of the book. But Daniel Warner Johnson is only going to end up doing 24 issues altogether of this run. What's going to go on after that run, we don't know. Back to talking about the quality of the book. You have the nice little foil effect that you have, a nice little gloss over the person. And obviously it's a bigger size that you end up having. You have some premium effects where you have a Decepticon logo and an Autobot logo. Perfect way to be able to see that stellar art that you end up expecting, and it's amazing how fluid that it ends up going with it. Kudos to the artists that we end up having. And then all your bonus features is going to be to the back, which is going to be all the covers that you're going to have for this book. This is also a great jumping on point that you can end up going and starting fresh with Transformers. If you haven't read a bunch of Transformers or watched the cartoons or anything like that, this will be no problem for it. You just jump right in it. It's a plug and play book, and it's going to be nice and solid with you. So, with that said, let's change on over to the review of the book. We're going to end up having some spoilers, so right here I'm going to have a little spoiler warning for you to be able to see, well, give you a heads up what's going to be going on. We're going to go over with what we end up having with the book. We're going to have a nice little voiceover, and then we'll give our final thoughts about our overview, unboxing, and review of the book. I believe that's a triple changer. Oh, that's even a transformer. Perfect, got the title for this. This is going to become the triple changer. Let's jump on over. Alright, this is going to be chapter 1, which we have these broken down in 2 different chapters, where this is going to be the start of it, and we're going to keep on going forward with it. Chapter 1 is called Robots in Disguise. Chapter 2 is going to be Transport to Oblivion. So, with that said, let's start it on over and have a nice little way that you can end up seeing the art and going from there. Here we go. To give a heads up, this story isn't going to be for the wary-hearted because there's a bunch of character death and a bunch of chaos that's going to end up coming out of it. We get introduced to the story with a kid looking into or trying to wake up his dad, and then we go over to the arc where we end up having Jetfire resurrecting or trying to repair other robots that have accidentally got crashed. But it's important to say this was a time after everything that ended up happening. He starts off with Starscream, where he ends up coup de grace taking out Bumblebee right off the get-go. In the process, we do have Optimus Prime that gets resurrected, but not knowing exactly what shape that he's in. He ends up getting the other Autobots into his trailer and leaving because they're going to take down or keep the Ark. Ark is something that ends up using for the Transformers to end up going back and forth, or specifically the Autobots. In the process of a fight down the road, we ended up having Optimus Prime trying to take out the de facto leader at the time of Starscream with its Energon X, but the people end up shooting his arm off. He ends up ripping off his arm trying to protect other people with it. In the process, he ends up putting on Megatron's cannon arm, where it ends up leading to other stuff happening to Odo Prime. We end up seeing a bunch of different characters get developed in the storyline that goes on with it. We get introduced to the humans, or the squishies as the Decepticons would like to call them. We see Ravage get actually taken out. If John Wick ended up seeing that, he'll be a little bit frustrated, but I digress. Then we also see Soundwave making over and actually make a power play in the second chapter to take over leadership and actually making Starscream pay for kicking his dog right down over with it. And then we also see the introduction of Soundwave in this second volume as well, where it comes with more Energon to be able to resurrect or fix the other characters. In the process to get onto Cybertron, where we get to see Alita, which is a love interest of Optimus Prime, and with Alita going over, picking up Ultra Magnus from his tortured experience with Shockwave. They ended up fixing up Shockwave, and at a key moment, where the Ultra Magnus has a bad moment where he ends up coming out and trying to be able to help out the Autobots, but the psyche of Ultra Magnus is broken. This is going to be something hopefully covered in later different volumes. Lost is going to be found on all sides of the thing, but you're also going to see character development, such as RC with one of the humans ended up becoming a, what would you say, a squire to one of the Autobots. That was a Transformers that we ended up covering. That's going to be having a nice little review that's going over with it. And what do we think of it? Well, this is going to be one of those situations that I'm going to say this is a 10 out of 10 book. I love the art. I love this thing that goes on with it. Like I said, the first 6 issues is going to be by Dan and Warner Johnson doing the art and story, with Mike Spicer filling in with the inks and stuff like that. However, after that point, we end up having Jorge Corona pick up the art mantle and run it with it. Stellar art, stellar things that goes on with it. With Daniel Warner Johnson writing it, we have such stories as Dual Powerbomb, Murder Falcon, and you really tell that that's going to be in this thing where it does have an emotional aspect to it. A big thing that's going to be a little bit left to be with the knowledge of a regular person is that you have Optimus Prime and Alita 1, where they both were a couple that goes on with it. There's some events that ended up happening, and I have a feeling in the next volume we're going to have answers that's going to happen before this. Like I said, overall, David Warren Johnson's run is going to end up being only 24 issues, so the next volume, unfortunately, will be the wrap-up of the story that he's going to end up having that's going to come along with it. Now, would I suggest this? Heck yeah, I would suggest this. You have action, and by the time you end up actually reading the book, you're going to think that it's going to be over before you even started, because it's so action-packed, so dynamic, and it does have some developments that you end up seeing that's going to be throughout the book. Would I give this to a new reader? Yes, I would end up giving that to a new reader, because this is a great jumping on point for Transformers. This is a nice reboot, and it's important to say that this is part of an overall Energon Universe where you have G.I. Joe and Transformers and Void Rivals being part of the entire, universe. I've read Void Rivals to a certain level. It wasn't for me, so I ended up dropping it, and I never really got into G.I. Joe, so I don't know how it ties in with one another. But I've heard really good things about the book and the series that ends up going with it. And overall, I'm mainly in it for Transformers. Optimus Prime, if I have to be completely honest, I hope the Dinobots make their way into the series, because I would love to have an Optimus Prime cover next to a Grimlock cover. But I digress. This book is one of those few that I'm going to say is a 10 out of 10 because I love the story, I love what's going on, I love the subject matter, and I would suggest this to anyone that ends up reading it. And if you're looking over to pick up Transformers or any other books, go visit the channel affiliate Organipricebooks.com to be able to pick this bad boy up. Use the discount code Afifthofjack to save $2 off. Or if you have 4 or more books, put the code Jacket together to save 5% off your entire order instead. Orders of $30 or more ends up getting free medium mail shipping, so that way you can end up seeing how bomb-proof that OPB sends their books. Also, they have the compendiums that were on Kickstarter of the big $4.5 million Kickstarter project that they had over on their site, and that's another place where you can end up picking that up. That's going to be the previous stuff that's going to be covering the Marvel years. It doesn't cover the IDW or the Dreamwave, but it covers, I think, mostly everything else. It's 4 different compendiums, but you can pick up 2. It's a nice little project, and it's going to be the most premium way that you're going to end up having those books coming out. I'd like to thank the folks over at OPB for doing an awesome job and affiliating with it and making sure that this book comes over here nicely protected, and your book will come over nicely protected. Like I said, we have a few different things that's going to be going on. We have a few goals for us to be going on. If you get 250, we're going to end up having a special giveaway where we're going to be giving away the 3 Jokers book, and that we also said in a review. I did at 500, we're going to be giving away a deluxe copy of Long Halloween. And then at 1,000 subscribers, we're going to be giving away a deluxe copy of The New Frontier. So, let's hit those goals. Let's go over with it. Now, it's important to say with 1,000 subscribers, there's going to be a few more things, because 1,000 is a huge, huge milestone for the channel. But let's have our eyes on the big 250. One step at a time. Thank you for watching, and until next time, roll out.